Alright, good day everyone. So welcome back to my YouTube channel, and this is Kasaligan Vlogs. Today we'll talk about mean, median, and mode for group data measures of central tendency. And this is mathematics in the modern world. So mean group data. So to compute the mean for group data, we can use the two formulas. Namely, the first one is the class mark formula, and the second one is the coded formula. So let's start with the class mark formula. So mean for the group data. So this is a formula for the mean for the group data for the class mark, which is this one. X bar is equal to the summation of f of x over n. When it talks about population, we have the mu is equal to summation of the frequency times the class mark over the n. Okay, so we have here the sample mean. This is x bar, and this one is x, the number of values of observation. So f of x over n. So next we have here steps in constructing class mark formula. Okay, or there are the steps in how to solve for class mark formula rather. So first is we're going to construct FDT, or the frequency distribution table. If it is in a row data, we have to construct it first for the frequency distribution table. Next is find the midpoints of each class. So this one, X, is the value of observation, which is the class mark. We are going to talk about this one as a class mark, which is our X. And multiply the frequency by the midpoint for each class. And find the summation of x and apply the formula in getting the mean. So this is the summation of frequency times the midpoint or the class mark. Okay, so we have here the second one is the coded formula, which is the mean, which is xm, which is the assumed mean, plus the summation of frequency times the coded deviation, which is d, the coded division, over the total frequency times the interval. This is how to find the coded formula for the mean. So steps in finding this coded formula, whereas we are going to choose any class interval to find the assumed mean. The class mark of this interval is x sub am, or the assumed mean. Construct the column for the deviation. This is done by putting 0 as the deviation for the assumed mean. Deviation from itself. For the class intervals larger than the class interval which contains the assumed mean, the deviations are 1, 2, 3, and so on. For the class interval smaller than the class interval which contains the assumed mean, the deviations are -1, -3, 2, -3, and so on in that order. Then number 3 step, multiply each frequency by the corresponding deviation to get the integers in the FD column. Get the sum of the values obtained in step 3 to obtain the summation of FD, and use the formula to compute the mean. So let's have the example. Below is the frequency distribution of scores of 40 students in mathematics. Find the mean using the class mark formula and the coded formula. So let's start with the class mark formula. Okay, let's start with the class mark formula. So in the class mark formula, the first step is we are going to construct the column for the class mark for x. So the class mark, which is this one, x. How to find the class mark? So the class mark is the midpoint of the lower and the upper limits of the given class. So the midpoint of the lower and the upper limits of the given class. The midpoint is found by getting 1/2 of the sum of the upper limit and the lower limit. So as we have remembered all about the class mark, we are going to add 16 plus 23 divided by 2. So 16 plus 23 divided by 2, we have the class mark of 19.5. Next is we are going to find for the In order to get for the next class mark, we could also solving way of this. We could also solve like this rather. So 16 and 24, we have here the interval is 8. So by just adding 8 here, we have 27.5. So this would be the class mark for 24 to 31. And next we have 32 and 39. By just adding 8, so we have 35.5. By just adding 8, we have 43.5. Again, how to get the interval of this one? We have 24 minus 16. We have 8. Okay. So 24 minus 16, they have 8. So just adding 8 here because this would result to the class mark of this particular class interval. So we have 48 to 55, the class mark plus 8. We have 51.5. And this one plus 8, we have 59.5. All right. Next step is multiply each class mark or the midpoint by corresponding frequency. And this will be entered here, which is f of f times x. So multiply it here. 1 times 19.5, we have 19.5. 3 times 27.5, we have 82.5. 6 times 35.5, we have 213. And 12 times 43.5, we have 522.0. 10 times 51.5, we have 515. And 8 times 59.5, we have 476.0 or 476. So next we're going to get the summation of this one. So the summation of this one is we're going to add here all of this. We have the summation is 1828. Okay. So this is summation of f of x. So get the sum of the values obtained. So we are going to get the sum which is 128 and to get the summation of f of x. F times x, the frequency times x rather. Substitute the obtained values in step 3 in the formula to find the mean. So to find the mean, we have here the formula x mean is equal to summation of f of x over the n. So what is our mean now? We have 1828 over our n is 40. So we have 40. So if we're going to solve that one, our mean is 45.7. So the mean here is 45.7. So the interpretation for this one that this indicates that the mean score in mathematics of the group of 40 students is 45.7. So this is how we're going to interpret using the mean. So this is the way, the first step, the first formula, which is the class mark formula. So let's proceed now with the coded formula. Okay, the coded formula. So how to find the coded formula? So first step of this one is choose the any interval to find the assumed mean. So let us choose, okay, this one. Okay, let's pick this as our class interval to find the assumed mean. The class mark of this interval is this one. So we are going to find the class mark of this one. So our class mark x of this one. So class mark x is 40 plus 47 divided by 40 plus 47 divided by 2, we have 43.5. So our class mark is 43.5 here. Next is construct the column for division. So let's have construct for the column for division. This is done by putting 0 as the division of the assumed mean. So our assumed mean is this one. So we're going to put here 0 for the assumed mean deviation from itself. For the class intervals larger than the class interval which contains the assumed mean, the divisions are 1, 2, 3. So larger than the interval. So this is larger than the interval 1 and 2. And the lesser than the class interval, smaller than the class interval, we have to name it -1, -2, and -3, and so on. Multiply each frequency by the corresponding division to get the entries in the column. So we have to here to multiply f times the d, the frequency times the division. So therefore, we have 1 times -3, we have -3. 3 times -2, we have -6. 6 times this one is -6, and this is 0, 10, and 16. So after that one, get the sum of the values obtained to obtain the summation of FD. So summation of FD, if we're going to add this one, -3, -6, -6 plus 16, we have 11. Okay, so 11. So use the formula to compute the mean. So the formula for this one is mean is equal to assumed mean plus uh, summation of FD over the n times the interval. So which is this is our assumed mean for the class mark, which is 43.5 plus the summation of FD, which is 11 over 40 times, this is our n, which is 40 times the interval. The interval of this one is 8. So we have 24 minus 16, we have 8. So the interval is 8. Okay, so the mean is 43.5 plus 11 times 8 divided by 40, we have 2.2. So therefore the mean is 45.7. So the mean is 45.7. So therefore we could say that they have the same result with the class mark formula if we're going to make use of coded formula. So at home, so you have to pick one of the interval here. So let's have assume that this is our class mark in class chose the chosen class interval. So use this one as our assumed mean to find the assumed mean. Okay, you are going to solve for using this class interval to find for the mean. Okay, so we are using here. So now at home you have to use this part. Okay, so that's all about a mean for the class mark encoded formula. So the median group data. So the median is, this is a symbol for median. Okay, it could be this one or this MD. Okay, LB plus n over 2 minus the less than cumulative frequency over the frequency times the interval. So where MD is the median, LB is the lower boundary of the middle class, and less than cumulative frequency above the median class. And we have here the interval, which is the I, and the frequency of the median class. Okay, so let's have the steps. First is construct a group frequency distribution table if not yet being constructed, and to determine the median class, the median rank value, which is n over 2. Construct a cumulative frequency column, identify the median class, determine the lower boundaries, the CF, the I, and the number or the total number of frequencies, and apply the formula to compute the mean. We have the same problem. Below is the frequency distribution of the scores of 40 students in mathematics. Find the median of the group. Okay. So we have here the solution, how to find the solution or how to compute the solution or to show the solution rather. Okay, to show the solution, the first step is construct a less than cumulative frequency. So how to find the less than cumulative frequency? By adding this one, the frequency next. So 1, starting here from the lowest class, 1, add it here plus 3, we have 4. plus 6 we have 10, plus 12 we have 22, and we have 32, and we have 40. Okay. So next step, determine the median class. How to determine the median class? This is the class interval containing one half of the frequency. So n divided by 2 in the less than cumulative frequency. The less than cumulative frequency is constructed by adding frequencies successively starting from the lowest class. So this is what we did last a while ago, that we are adding 1 plus 3, 4, and so on. So next is we have to determine. So n, which is 40 divided by 2, we have 20. So to determine the median class, by just looking here the cumulative frequency, we could say that we could not cater 10 here as our cumulative. So therefore, this is our median class because it is more than 10. So this is 20. So much better to produce here the median class for 22. So this is our median class. Okay. Next steps is choose the formula to find the median class. So first, we are going to find for the median class. So the median class is this one. So what is our lower boundaries here? LB, diba? The median class is LB plus, okay, n over 2. Okay, n over 2. Okay, yes, right, sakto. Minus less than cumulative frequency over the frequency times the interval. So our MD here. So what is our LB? The lower boundaries for the median class is by just subtracting this one, 0.5 here. So we have 39.5 plus, which is 20, which is the given here, 20, minus the less than cumulative frequency. So the less than cumulative frequency, RCF, is the less than cumulative frequency above the median class. So what is the less than cumulative frequency above the median class, which is, this is 10. This one, 10 over the frequency, which is 12. And the interval, which is 24 minus 16, we have 8. So the interval is 8. So by just computing using your calculator, so our MD is 39.5, 20 minus 10 divided by 12 times 8. Okay, the result is 46.17. So 46.17 is the median of the given data or the frequency distribution. So that's how to find for the median class. Okay, again, the first step is this one. We're going to determine this part. This would determine the median class. Since the median, the n over 2 is 20, so next proceed to the next higher. If this is 10, we have to use 10. But since it's 20, so we could not cater in this part because this is 20 more than 10. If it is more than, so we have to produce here by the next part of the cumulative frequency. So our median is 46.17. Okay, let's proceed with the mode for the group data. So this formula is for unimodal distribution. So MO is equal to LM. So our LM is the lower class boundaries of the modal class, and the FM is the frequency of the modal class minus the frequency above the modal class. And we have here our FB is frequency below the modal class, and the I is the size of the interval. So the steps is find the modal class. This is the modal interval with the highest frequency, and use the formula to find the mode. The question is if there are in the given data or the given frequency distribution, we could see that there are two highest value for the highest frequency or the two mode or not unimodal anymore. So we could make use of this formula. Okay, so if that is multimodal, for example, the frequency for the first class is 10 and the second frequency, the second class is 10, and these are the highest, so we could say that this is multimodal. So we could not make use of this, the formula, this one. So we'll make use of this multimodal. So just compute for the mode, the median. For the mode for this one, we have to compute for the median and the mean. So 3MD minus 2 mean. So first is construct the group frequency distribution table, determine the modal class. The modal class for group data and the class with the highest frequency. And determine the MD and the mean. Since this is this part, and apply the formula to compute the mode. Okay, so this is the formula when there is a multimodal. This is multimodal distribution. The rough mode is given by the formula 3MD minus 2 mean. So problem below is the frequency distribution of the scores of 40 students in mathematics. Find the mode of the group data. So first, we are going to locate for the modal class. Okay, this is the modal class because this is the class interval which has the highest frequency. Okay, so next is we're going to, okay, find here in the formula. Okay, this is the formula. I know this is the formula 2FM minus FA minus FB over times the interval. Okay, so our LM here is the lower boundaries, which is 39.5. What is our FM? Our FM here is the frequency of the modal class, which is 12. Okay, the frequency of the modal class, which is 12. Our FA here, so we say that the frequency above the modal class, which is frequency above the modal class, which is 6, this one. And our FB is below the modal class, which is 10. Okay. Okay, 10. And the interval of this part is, we have 24 minus 16, we have 8. Okay. The interval is 8. Okay. So the interval is 8. Then after that one, we are going to substitute for the formula. MO is LM, which is the lower class boundary of the modal class, which is 40 minus 0.5, which is 39.5, plus what is our FM, which is 12, minus FA, which is 6, over 2FM, 2 times FM, which is 12, minus FA, which is 6, minus 10 times the interval of 8. So by the use of your calculator, so our MO is, okay, we're going to compute. Okay, our MO is 45.5. So the mode, the rough mode here, estimation of mode is 45.5. So this is how to find for the mode for the group data. All right. So try this at home. Below is the distribution of the daily salary of the workers of EFG company. Compute the mean using the class mark formula, the coded formula, and also we are going to find for the median and the mode and interpret the results. So thank you so much for tuning to this Kasalikan Vlogs. I hope everyone you learned something about the lesson today. Thank you and God bless. And do not forget to subscribe the channel. And please uh, put your answers below in the comment section. Thank you and God bless.